Hey guys, it's Adam, and I want to ask you a question. Have you always thought that you needed to quit your day job to get into interior design? Have you dreamt of putting enough money away in the bank so that you can finally have the capital you need to stitch that day job and venture out into your purpose, your purposeful career, which is the interior design industry? You want to get out of the 9 to 5, that's what we all aspire to, isn't it? And finally start your life of design. Is that the way we should be doing things? I want to turn that thought on its head in this episode and ask you to consider 3 very important things before you even consider doing that. So stick with me. It's an interesting episode. Let's have a chat. Hey guys, it's Adam of the So You Want to Be an Interior podcast, and welcome to episode 15. Want to tell you who this show is designed for. This show is for you guys out there that are really mid-career, interior design decorating solopreneurs that need support in building your own interior design business whilst you're working your 9 to 5. Yes, that's right. My aim is to help you balance your time and make more money whilst you're able to choose the projects that you really want to work on rather than the ones that you have to take on to pay your bills. I'd like to ask you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts if you're on Apple Podcasts, or subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a comment and tell me what you think of this episode when it's done. The other thing I'd like to invite you to do before we really kick off is ask you to take the quiz. How is your design business going? Have you just started, or are you kind of in a transition? You could be flailing a little bit. If that's the case, doesn't matter where you're at the moment, you're going to get some great advice via my interior design business quiz. So go over to adamscougall.com/quiz and tell me how you go. It takes about 2 minutes and you get a personalized report which is sent to your email address. So anyway, let's get on to today's show. What I want to do though is really talk about my background and my story, and really kind of tell you why I've taken this path with this particular solo episode is really because I think it's an important topic for discussion. And that topic really is, should we be quitting our day job as soon as we possibly can so that we can go and commit to full-time design or decorating work as a solopreneur? But I'll give you a little bit of background on me if you don't know this already. Back in 2018, after 18 years of corporate life, I had put some money away, got some capital together, as we might say, and I ventured out. I left my day job after that time to go into my full-time interior design career, or so I thought at the time. So I put my notice in, and very shortly after that, I was out on my own and ready to start my business. I had some projects bubbling away, and I thought, this is terrific, really great. I'd worked out all of my processes and income goals, and things were going well for quite some time. Then, probably about a year later, things slowed down, and I found it quite difficult to get more clients. And I realized that all of the hard work I put into what I was doing and the money that I'd been making was slowly dwindling away. I would get ahead with some really great paying design work, and then I would fall behind because the industry can be a little bit like this. Now, this was just before 2020 by the time this was happening. And guess what happened in 2020? COVID hit all of us. I'm certainly not the only person that felt the blow of COVID. But what I'm trying to say is I had designed this career and really thought that my aspiration was to leave my day job, get rid of that pesky thing that still paid me a great salary every month, and really only focus on design, because how can I be available for all of these opportunities out there if I didn't quit my day job? Now, this is a lot of coaching speak. I was coached to that point as well to write that letter of resignation. It made my coach really happy on the day that I did that. And I was in a mastermind, a coaching mastermind, and I told everybody. I think I posted the snapshot of the letter into a Facebook group we had at the time. But in hindsight, it wasn't such a great move. And to cut to 2024, when, at the time of this recording, I am happily working in an account development position with the company that I was working for previously, and I'm enjoying every moment of that whilst I have a bubbling side hustle again with the interior design work. I only take on about 2 projects a year, and I'm happy with that. What I realized was that I didn't need to rely on interior decorating and design as my sole source of income. What I craved was really creative expression. And today I want to talk to you about that very idea of whether or not you need to throw the baby out with the bathwater and quit your day job. Have a think about that, the importance of an income to you, and whether or not you can risk going out and making it a full-time resource. Now, I've got 3 questions to ask yourself. Some of you will be in the position to leave your day job, or perhaps you've never had a day job other than being, say, a mum with kids, and with your partner, husband. You could be dad with kids and your wife is bringing in the bacon, or it doesn't matter. We've got lots of different ways that we live, and different ways that we operate. So what I'm trying to say, first and foremost, before we kick off into the 3 big questions I want to ask you before you quit your day job, that some of this is not relevant. If you're watching this episode and you've got a strong financial situation there, where you've got money there to support you if you have slow times, whether that's coming through via a partner or a trust fund or whatever, then this is not going to be relevant to you. Who this is relevant to is to a lot of people I'm speaking to, mostly women, I've got to admit, that I've been coaching. I've started coaching this year. I'm having lots of conversations with people that do need a steady income, that do have people that are relying on them to put food on the table, and there isn't that significant other there that's going to kind of cover those dry periods. So if you've got a source of income, a stable source of income outside of this whole decorating or design career that you can rely on, you probably don't need to be listening to this episode. But if you do need to pay those bills, and you might need to be able to take care of perhaps yourself or other people as well, if you're a sole provider, then you might want to really ask yourself these questions before you go and quit your day job. So let's get on to question 1 today. Do you get, and I just touched on this, do you get financial support from another source? Okay, so do you have financial backing, support for when those times get lean? Now, I know a lot of people, designers and decorators, solopreneurs, that are operating and they are having some great times, or have had some great times, and they've slowed down a little bit. This was particularly true in late 2023. So things will ebb and flow, but one thing that will happen at some point is it will dry up a little bit, and that's just the nature of the game. There will be some lull or low times. So the question I ask you before, and this is for you guys, if you're working and you've done some training perhaps in interior decorating or design in any capacity, if you've got it in your goal, it's written down somewhere perhaps that you want to leave that corporate position or whatever position it is, it's a 9 to 5, to just solely focus on your design career, this is one for you. Do you have a husband, a wife, a trust fund that you can rely on to support you? If you don't have that, then I would seriously consider thinking about whether or not you should leave your day job. Did you know that you can stay in full-time employment and actually run full service projects? I've developed a strategy that I actually use to be able to do that, and it involves the support of other designers, but I make it happen, and I still have my creative moments that are fulfilled throughout the year. And when the project finishes, I don't have to worry about whether I've got another one right there in the pipeline, because I've got my wonderful day job that I've chosen, and the work that I do in the day job I enjoy. That's really important. So have a think about that to get back to the question. Do you have the backing and financial support from other people when the work is not there? I was just speaking to somebody this week that had a discovery call with me, and bless this lovely lady who took the time to talk to me about her situation. she was closing down. She'd shut down her business. The website, you go to the link, it is taken down. Her big concern was that she was leaving or making a decision to leave her husband, and she has children that she needs to consider. So there's a whole financial support there that she needs to now take care of. So without going into a lot of further detail, it was a very emotional call, and I really felt for this person who felt comfortable telling me her situation. I really admired her for being transparent and doing that. But the one thing that I think for her is, and the one piece of advice that I gave her is, please go and get yourself a job that you can actually ensure pays your bills and helps you to look after your kids that you're going to have to provide for. And she felt a lot of shame by having to close down her business. I actually said there's no reason for you to shut down that website because the tide will turn and you can actually design while you're working. And I opened her eyes up, hopefully, to that idea and the shame that was there. And we do feel a lot of shame if sometimes things don't work out in the way that we thought they would. When I initially started my business and had the downtimes when things started to drop, when they did, I felt really down on myself. I thought, are you the right person to be doing interior design and decorating? What's wrong with you? Why is it that other people are successful and you have not been able to continue to make sure that the ebb and flow is really more in flow with the work being there on tap? And then I realized, and actually another coach that I actually engaged a little bit later on in the process helped me to understand, was I was a smart business person by actually going and taking on a full-time position again. The main thing for me was financial security. And the one thing that I can assure myself of is there is, as much as possibly can be secure in any job, there is still a relative amount of money that I can actually rely on the 15th of every month. So that keeps me feeling secure, and I still do the design. Things did pick up again, but I realized by speaking to lots of different people in the industry that it wasn't just me, and it was just the way that it worked. Now, there will be people that have relationships with people in the industry that bring them work. I would say if you're a kitchen bath designer, you do a lot of computer-aided design. You may be working with a builder. You may have a relationship and the builder is potentially your other half. Or you may just know or have great relationships with people in the building industry that can engage you to continue to work and bring you work. That does happen. But to make that happen is something that you have to continually work on. So bringing me to question number 2 that I want to ask you is, can you hustle and market or network constantly? Now, to ensure that we get work, we have to network and we have to put our flag out there and tell people that we're here for them and we would be delighted to help them with their next project. If you're not someone that can continually turn on the marketing switch and reach out to people, which is reaching out to those builders I talked about, and also keeping in contact with the people that you've worked with and be networking to find new opportunities, then you could potentially be experiencing the lull of the design work more than you'll experience the highs of the work coming in and you having a thriving design career. So if you are comfortable getting out there and hustling, for lack of a better word, if you're comfortable doing that, then that's terrific. You've probably got a good chance of keeping up any possible chance of new work. If you aren't the type of person that loves hustling and kind of getting out there and really marketing quite consistently, then maybe getting rid of your day job isn't, again, the best possible choice for you at this time. So number 1 was, do you have financial support from another source, partner, trust fund, whatever it is? Or are you having to rely on yourself to bring in the income? if you have to rely on yourself to bring in the income, you may want to consider whether or not you need to have a backup job. Can you hustle and network consistently? That is really important. Point number 2. Point number 3 is, can you get over the feelings of uncertainty? I had a conversation with a good friend of mine. She's a designer called Jane Thompson. And she said to me a few years ago, actually, it was not long after I had quit my day job and was doing the interior decorating work full time. She said to me, Adam, as a solopreneur, designer and decorator, you have to get comfortable with feeling uncertain about where the next job's going to be and where the next paycheck's going to come from. She said it's just something that she had at the time 30 years experience. That was 4 years ago or something now, 4 or 5 years ago. That would give her 35 years experience. What she was saying was, can you kind of just accept that you're going to have a feeling of uncertainty, not all the time, but definitely at times when the work is not clearly, the next job is not clearly outlined in the diary. And I thought of that, and, I felt exactly what she was talking about, that uncertainty, many times before I went and started to work again in a full-time position. I felt that, it was not a feeling that I wanted to carry around with me all the time. And I would lay in bed at night and think, how am I going to pay my mortgage in the next few months if I don't get a lot more work in? So 3 questions I've asked today, and I'm putting a different perspective on this whole ideal out there that we must abandon our day jobs to go and live a creative life with lots of money and great clients. Now, there are lots of great clients out there and you can earn lots of money. You can have high-end clients. One of the things, though, that drives me a little bonkers out there is a lot of focus from a lot of coaches on finding the luxury client and setting up your processes so that you are just attracting luxury clients. Now, the reality of that is, yes, you can develop a beautiful aesthetic and perspective. You can really tighten up all of your processes. You can have a wonderful contract and you can give a wonderful customer experience that's kind of second to none. Even having all of that wonderful collateral and process stuff tightened up and charging fees that are reasonable or good prices so that you're actually, when you're working, earning some good money. Even with all of that, there is still going to be an ebb and flow in the work. And it doesn't matter who I speak to. Most people will tell me that it is either really busy or it's really quiet. So some questions to ask yourself there. I've got a different perspective, and I've been having lots of conversations recently, quite enlightening conversations with people that are in the same situation. Do you really need to quit your 9 to 5, your day job, to be able to enjoy being an interior designer? There are definitely ways that you can run interior design projects, and stay with me on the podcast because I'm going to reveal a lot more about that and how I actually work as time goes on. It may seem, it seems to some people that don't really know my story, that if they look at my website and they look at Instagram, that it looks as if I'm a successful designer running around doing all of these high-end projects, back to back to back to back. And that was not and is not the case. So a little bit of honesty here. This is very honest, this podcast. I'm very honest with you. I want you to know the truth. And I also want to tell you that the truth is nothing to be ashamed of if you choose to take the path that I've taken. So I'm going to wrap up there. And I really want to send it back to you. Have a think about your situation and what really needs to work for you, and make some notes about it if you need to, some pros and cons about it. If you're in a predicament, if you're not really sure if you should be pushing to take that leap, think twice before you do it. That's my advice to you. What do you think of what I said today? if you've got some feedback on that, if you've been in that situation or you're kind of in that situation, leave me a comment below if you're on YouTube, or send me an email, adam@adamscougall.com, and let me know. Tell me what you think. I would love your feedback. Again, if you would like a report on or some advice on some ways that you can think differently about your business, take my quiz over at adamscougall.com/quiz. Should be there under my finger. And go in there and see what you think of it. It only takes about 2 or 3 minutes and you get a report emailed to you. The one thing I want to end on is to tell you that I think you are amazing. Keep your chin up. There's a lot of dignity tied into what we do. A lot of feeling that we're worthy tied into what we do. The reason we do what we do is we want to express ourselves, show our creativity, and make other people happy. And it doesn't matter where you're at right now. It doesn't matter what's going on. You deserve to be happy. And if you're not having such a great time at the moment, things will turn around. Don't worry. It'll get there. You'll get there. And I have total faith in you. So if it's going well for you, my darling, I'm so happy for you. And I wish you a fabulous rest of the year. But just a really important episode, this one, a solo episode. Again, I'd love to know your comments. And until next time, by the way, this is a show on every Tuesday. You'll get a new episode Tuesday of every week. Need to let you know that. But yeah, stay with me. I'd love to keep the conversation going. And until next time, bye for now. See ya.